We're gonna start with the Seahawks, but Matt, why don't you give us your tidbits, your information that you brought to the table for us today?
So Seattle, we know, they might have had the weirdest offseason of any team in football this year. But before we get into that, the last season they were a 10-7 football team. They were second in the division. They missed the playoffs. Obviously, Week 18 didn't matter to them. They were playing the Rams. The Rams already clinched the division. They couldn't get in, so they got an extra 10th win, which meant something for me because I had some 10+ wins Seattle stuff last year. But overall, they were a pretty average team. They were 18th in offensive EPA per play, negative .013. Their pass block win rate, like both their offensive line statistics were really, really bad. Pass block win rate was 58%, 21st in the league. Run block win rate was 69%, nice at 28th. Their defensive EPA, their defensive stuff was good because they hired a defensive coach who is really good in Mike McDonald. Defensive EPA per play was negative .018, which is 10th in the league, and then their pass rush win rate with not really a true superstar was 40% at 16th, and then their run stop win rate was 31% at 15th, all according to ESPN analytics. And then we get into, like, I've been talking about the quarterback, so let's talk about their new quarterback, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold last season, .127 EPA per play, which was 14th in the league. So he was a top half efficiency quarterback last season. And then 50.9 success rate, which is tied for ninth with the one and only Patrick Mahomes. So is Sam Darnold the same as Patrick Mahomes? Probably not, but in terms of success rate in 2024, we can look at and say yes, he was. But their offseason, small little keep tabs. They kept Ernest Jones, inside linebacker, who me and Ben really like, 3 for 28 million. Jaron Reed, a kind of inning. I like to compare him to an inning eater, like in baseball, like
Mm-hmm.
just a middle reliever. At the interior D line, 3 for 22. He's getting up there. I think it's a 1 year out, so they could have him for this year and then cut him. And then lastly, Josh Joby, one for 1 year for $2 million, according to our lads, which is the main kind of. Let
Special
me bring
teams
it up.
deem it.
Yeah, he's the main starting outside corner outside of Reek the Freak Woolen for the Seattle Seahawks right now. So it's really like that was noticeable to me, and they've spent on the position before. So that was interesting. And then their additions, obviously, Sam Darnold, Cooper Kupp, DeMarcus Lawrence, all 3 year contracts. Guess what? They all have outs after 1 year. They signed Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Saints legend, for 1 year, $4 million. Josh Jones, Houston Cougar, Arizona Cardinal, Baltimore Raven. That's just me flexing my ball knowledge. Swing tackle, 1 year for $4 million. And then they brought back Drew Lock. So that was pretty cool. 2 years for $5 million. And then they drafted interesting. This was a John Schneider is a very valuable position. He's very valuable position pilled. A lot of edge rusher, a lot of kind of things like that. So, to see them draft Gray Zabel, Nicky Midwari, Elijah Arroyo, and then take Jalen Milrow in the third round is interesting. And then they had 7 day 3 picks, and of course their departures pretty hefty snap counts here on their on what they got rid of. They traded Geno Smith over 1,000 snaps. DK Metcalf they traded away for a second round pick, over 800 snaps. Draymond Jones 600 snaps, another one of those interior D line guys. Tyler Lockett 762 snaps. They cut longtime Seahawk. Lincoln Tomlinson, who isn't really good, but he had over almost 1,100 snaps last year. And then Rayshon Jenkins and Trey Brown, kind of, little depth secondary guys. They let go and they signed for minimum somewhere else. But the big thing with the Seahawks this year, my big season outlook question for them is, how do the 2025 Seahawks shape the next 5 years of Seahawk football? And what I mean by that is their offseason was really silly. They traded away 2 competent players at premium positions in Geno Smith and DK Metcalf to get worse and to add draft capital. Usually when you do that, you aren't signing Sam Darnold, Cooper Kupp, and DeMarcus Lawrence for pretty good like market value contracts for those players. All aging and diminishing players. But it makes me ask the question with them. Do they want to be good? Do they want to thread this tightest of needles? Do they think Sam Darnold's going to win them 12 games, 12, 13, 14 games like he did in Minnesota? Or are they slow tracking a rebuild just to say, well, we turned every stone. You know, we tried to get better at quarterback. We tried to get younger at quarterback, but it didn't work out. Now we can fast track a rebuild. But whatever it is, the 2025 Seahawks unlocks a door. Door one is Sam Darnold's good, and you pay him like Baker Mayfield is right now. And they continue to go down this road of, you know, fine to above average quarterback play at market value contract, mid-tier contract. Door number two, they suck, they underachieve, and they punt on everybody. They sign this offseason, Cooper Kupp, Marcus Lawrence, Sam Darnold, and they restart and they rebuild. Something they have not done since before Pete Carroll was there. And then the last door is, what if there's a mystery door that involves Jalen Milroe or involves Sam Darnold being good, but keeping him on this current contract and not, you know, re-signing him to a massive number. It's interesting. I'm interested in the Seattle Seahawks because I think we're going to look back in 5 years and say the 2025 Seattle Seahawks pushed them into a direction that they now have to kind of work around.
Yeah.
Go ahead and look at the schedule here.
Well, couple thoughts there on the Seahawks. First off, loved. I mean, you of all people can offer insight on this, but love the offensive coordinator change. You hope that Clint can come in and bring in kind of a new offense that can kind of help Sam. Second off, we love Gray Zabel. Gray Zabel is darling of the podcast, but that interior offensive line still kind of blows. And what was Sam Darnold's one big question throughout the entire season? You can get him flustered and make him see those quote unquote ghosts when you get that interior pressure. And then two more kind of side notes. If Josh Jacobs is starting outside corner, it's not going well for you. I can tell you he was on the Eagles. It's not. It wasn't fun. And then second off, I know you weren't a big Nick Emanwari guy, but does the placement of Nick Emanwari going to this specific team of all teams change that a little bit for you, Matt? Because I think this, like, outside of the Ravens, this would have been the team I wanted him to go to because of McDonald. Because McDonald was kind of the person that turned Kyle into what Kyle was, and you hope that you can do that with Nick. So does that change it?
It changes it enough that I think there's a plan for him. I still think he's rigid at this point to play overhang safety. I still project him as a box safety long term, but no, I think having a creative defensive mind for him was a valuable tool in the draft, and I think he got that.
We love it.
Let's go ahead and
Jalen Milroe. It'll be fun. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
If he's able to play. Pick that they traded Geno Smith for is the Jalen Milroe pick, so we could look at that in 5 years and be like, "That's fun." You know, that's fun.
Yes.
All right. So starting off week 1, I'm gonna have them lose against the 49ers at home. Matt, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna have them lose.
Ben?
Yep, loss.
I have them winning in Pittsburgh. Matt?
I'm losing.
Ben?
I have them winning in Pittsburgh.
I have them winning at home against New Orleans. Matt?
It's going to be interesting to see if you have the Saints win a single game this year.
Yeah.
But yes, I have the Seahawks winning this game as well.
I have them losing in Arizona on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, I have them losing. They'll probably split with this team.
Yeah.
That was the hard thing is deciding like if I had them split or where it was at. But at the end of the day, again, in division in Arizona, I'm gonna have Zona winning. So Seahawks are gonna lose.
These two matchups between Arizona and now Tampa are like probably two of like the, closest ones on their schedule, I would say, amongst the few that they have. But like these two should be dogfights, you know. But at home against Tampa, I'm gonna have them take the loss here as well. Matt.
Yeah, I'm gonna have them beat Tampa to lose to Jacksonville.
Okay.
Just playing the
I,
home game. Florida team going up north, going to the northeast or northwest. Yeah.
No.
yeah.
Playing the
I
travel
have
game.
them losing both games. I have losing to both the Bucks and the Jags.
I have them beating the Jags. That's my third win for them. So and then I have them beating Houston before the bye as well.
Mm.
Matt,
I have them losing.
Ben,
Yes, I have them. I actually have them beating the Texans as well, which will get you at the 3 wins, which puts you at a solid 3-4 going into the bye.
so I have them at 4-3 going into the bye. Matt, what do you have for them?
2-5.
2-5. Okay. I have them losing against the Commanders in Washington. I'm just gonna say the next four here that are right here on this middle row. Losing at Washington, beating the Cardinals at home, losing to the Rams, beating the Titans. Matt,
Yeah, I think we see that eye to eye. I have them losing to Washington, beating Arizona to split the season series. They lose to the Rams, and then they beat Tennessee.
Ben,
I have them losing all 3 actually of those first 3 games. I actually have them getting swept by the Cardinals. So I have them losing the Commanders again, getting swept by the Cardinals, and then losing to the Rams as well. But I do have them pick up, their first W coming off the bye 4 weeks later against the Titans.
I'm just gonna do this whole bottom row then. So I have them losing against the Vikings, beating the Falcons, beating the Colts, losing to the Rams, beating the Panthers, and then I'm going to have them beat the 49ers to finish 10-7 on the year. Same exact spot as last year. Matt?
Yeah, I'm gonna have them beat the Vikings, lose to the Falcons. I think you kind of I'll have them beat Indy. Why not? And then they'll lose out. They'll lose to the Rams Thursday night. They'll lose to the Panthers on the road, and then they lose to San Francisco, which I'll tally it up. Ben, you go with yours, and then I'll tally up what I have.
Yes, I have Sam Darnold beating the Vikings, which will be a fun game to watch. Sam Darnold revenge game. Was JJ the right guy? Maybe, maybe not. But other than beating the Vikings, beating the Falcons, losing their next 3 to the Colts, Rams, and Panthers, and then picking up a final W to end off the season against the Niners, which puts them at a solid 7-10, which puts them at that middle ground, kind of that mystery door that Matt had talked about, and not really pushing them in either direction. And then at that point, I wonder if, did Sam Darnold show you enough, or do we go with, again, into that next year, the second-year quarterback in Jalen Milroe, and hope we can find something special there? Because a 7-10 team is not where you would have wanted.
Matt, what you tallied up? Or what you got?
Yeah, I have them 6-11. Top 12 pick territory, bottom of the division. I think they're by far the fourth best team in this division, and I think the results are going to, show for it.
All right. So just to kind of recap, that's me at 10-7, Ben at 7-10, and then Matt at 6-11. So that's the Seahawks schedule for